River Phoenix's life and career were tragically short but undeniably impactful. By the time he reached adulthood, he had already carved out a legacy as one of Hollywood's most gifted actors. Despite coming from humble beginnings, his raw talent earned him comparisons to the greats, and his potential seemed limitless. But behind his success was a story of trauma, a tumultuous childhood, and struggles that would ultimately lead to his premature death. In this video, we dive into the heartbreaking truth about River Phoenix, exploring his early life, his rise to fame, the inner turmoil that overshadowed his promising career, and the tragic way his life was cut short. Stay tuned until the end to understand not only how River Phoenix became a star, but also the dark undercurrents that influenced his journey. He got his name. River Phoenix's upbringing was shaped by the ideals of the 1960s and 70s counterculture. His parents, Arlene and John Lee Bottom, were passionate adherents of the free love movement, rejecting mainstream societal norms, and instead adopting a bohemian lifestyle. This unconventional approach to family life was characterized by spiritual exploration, artistic expression, and an emphasis on personal freedom. The Bottoms believed in raising their children outside of traditional structures, which was reflected in their nomadic existence, moving from place to place in pursuit of a life that was as much about freedom as it was about discovery. This lifestyle was not just about rejecting materialism. It was about embracing a broader worldview influenced by the philosophy of the era. The Bottoms taught their children to prioritize inner growth, love, and creativity above all else. River, along with his siblings, was raised with the notion that material wealth and social status were less important than living authentically and exploring life with an open mind. Their experiences growing up without the trappings of a traditional home or formal education gave them a unique perspective on life, one that placed an emphasis on human connection and personal values. The free love movement, which promoted sexual liberation, alternative relationships, and personal expression, played a central role in the Phoenix family's life. River's parents were not only supporters of the movement, but also active participants in the cultural shifts of the time. This included embracing more fluid and non-conventional approaches to relationships, which influenced River's own views on love, identity, and societal expectations. The lifestyle River's parents adopted had a profound impact on his own development, and it can be seen in his approach to acting and life. River was known for being deeply introspective, often questioning the world around him and the role of art in addressing social issues. His performances in films such as My Own Private Idaho and Stand By Me reflected the depth of thought and emotional sensitivity instilled in him during his formative years. These themes of searching for meaning and identity was central to his work, demonstrating how his upbringing influenced his artistic choices. In many ways, the counterculture movement was more than just a backdrop to River's life. It was a core influence that shaped his worldview and the values he carried throughout his brief but impactful life. He came from a talented family. River Phoenix's early years were defined by an itinerant lifestyle that profoundly shaped his worldview. The Phoenix family constantly moved from place to place, living out of a mobile home and traveling across the United States. This nomadic existence meant that River, along with his siblings, was born in various states, creating a sense of transience and instability in their childhood. Their lifestyle, however, was not just about frequent relocation. It was part of a broader countercultural philosophy that emphasized freedom, self-reliance, and nonconformity. This fluidity allowed the Phoenix children to experience life outside of traditional boundaries, which would later influence their artistic careers. The Phoenix family also adhered to a strict vegan lifestyle, which reflected their rejection of mainstream societal practices. They shunned conventional medicine, opting instead for herbal remedies and spiritual healing methods to maintain their health. This alternative approach to life reinforced their commitment to personal freedom and self-expression, reinforcing the sense of individuality that each family member would later carry with them into adulthood. Despite the challenges and the unconventional nature of their upbringing, the Phoenix children demonstrated remarkable resilience. Growing up without the structure of formal education and living constantly on the move may have seemed difficult for some, but it gave River and his siblings an invaluable education in life. Rather than being confined to a classroom, they were exposed to diverse people, cultures, and experiences. This exposure to the world, though unconventional, helped foster the creative talents that would later define their careers. River was the eldest of 5 children, and his siblings, Rain Joaquin, who would later change his name to Leaf, Liberty, and Summer, also followed in his footsteps, carving out successful careers in the entertainment industry. Rain pursued both acting and music, while Joaquin, one of Hollywood's most celebrated actors, followed a path that would lead him to critical acclaim. Liberty and Summer also found success in acting, making the Phoenix family a notable presence in Hollywood. Even among this talented group, River stood out. His charisma and innate acting ability made him a natural star, captivating audiences from a young age. His performances in films like Stand By Me and My Own Private Idaho showcased his extraordinary talent and emotional depth, establishing him as one of the most promising young actors of his generation. Though he was taken from the world too soon, River's legacy in both his family and the entertainment industry endures, with his contributions still remembered today. He attracted big crowds. River Phoenix's childhood was marked by financial instability, and he often described it as a desperate situation. Growing up in a family that was constantly on the move and living in unconventional circumstances meant that River and his siblings were forced to develop a strong sense of self-reliance from a very young age. Their lifestyle, while unconventional and rooted in countercultural ideals, was also difficult. There was little financial security, and survival often meant making the most of what little they had. River, however, possessed a natural talent for music. From a young age, he was an accomplished guitarist, and his musical ability became a vital tool for survival. Along with his siblings, he would often perform on street corners, busking for money. Their performances, which included hymns and cover songs, were not just a means to earn money, but also a way for the Phoenix family to stay connected as they navigated a difficult existence. Music allowed them to create something beautiful amid hardship, and it provided an avenue for self-expression. These early experiences shaped River's artistic identity, and it became clear that his musical and performance skills would play a significant role in his future. Despite the challenging circumstances, the Phoenix family's busking performances also fostered a sense of unity and togetherness. The children would come together to perform, each contributing their talents in the face of adversity. These street performances were not just an economic necessity, but a vital bonding experience for the family. They were a way of facing their struggles together, showcasing their resilience and resourcefulness in the face of hardship. As the family continued to perform on the streets, something remarkable began to happen. Their performances started to attract larger and larger crowds. River's natural charisma, combined with the Phoenix family's raw talent, drew the attention of passers-by. The crowds that gathered to watch their performances became so large that at times the police had to intervene to disperse them. Despite these interruptions, River and his siblings refused to stop performing, driven by the sheer joy of sharing their talents and the growing recognition of their potential. These public performances were pivotal in revealing River's magnetic presence. Even as a young boy, he demonstrated a natural ability to captivate an audience, a quality that would become one of his defining traits as an actor. His charisma, paired with his musical talent, signaled that the Phoenix children had something special to offer the world, and it wouldn't be long before they would step onto the larger stage of the entertainment industry. He was uneducated. River Phoenix's upbringing, marked by his family's constant movement and rejection of conventional societal norms, meant that he did not receive a formal education. His childhood was spent in a world outside of traditional schools, with his parents taking on the role of teaching him the basics of reading and writing. River was raised in an environment where personal freedom and self-expression were prioritized over academic achievement, which resulted in a lack of formal schooling. While his intellectual curiosity was undeniably strong, the absence of a structured education left him with a limited understanding of subjects like history and literature. This gap in traditional knowledge, however, did not diminish his ability to engage with complex concepts in his work. River's intellectual abilities were raw and intuitive. He absorbed the world around him and made sense of it through his creativity and emotional sensitivity. His lack of formal education may have meant that he was less familiar with specific academic content, but it didn't hinder his ability to connect deeply with the human condition. His talent in acting and music was born out of this emotional intelligence rather than academic instruction. River's ability to convey complex emotions and delve into the psyche of his characters revealed a level of insight that many trained actors couldn't match. His performances, such as in My Own Private Idaho and Running on Empty, demonstrated that the absence of a traditional education did not prevent him from understanding the nuances of life or from conveying them on screen in a way that resonated with audiences. In 1979, River's parents became involved with the Children of God, a religious sect that would later be exposed as a cult. The group, which preyed on vulnerable individuals with promises of spiritual salvation, offered the Phoenix family a sense of community and purpose. River's parents, seeking enlightenment, joined the sect in hopes of finding something greater than their unconventional lifestyle had provided. Unfortunately, their involvement with the Children of God would lead them down a dark path, with the family relocating to South America in search of spiritual fulfillment. The time spent in the Children of God cult had a profound and lasting impact on River. The organization's manipulative tactics and its grip on the family created an environment of fear and control, which left psychological and emotional scars. River and his siblings were subjected to the intense pressures and manipulations of the group, which undermined their sense of autonomy and safety. For River, this period of his childhood marked one of the darkest and most troubling chapters of his early life, contributing to the emotional depth and complexity he would later channel into his acting career. The trauma of this experience would remain with him, shaping his worldview and the emotional layers he brought to his roles. He moved to South America. The Phoenix family was relocated to Caracas, Venezuela, where they were stationed as missionaries and fruit pickers. They were expected to work on an agricultural compound in exchange for shelter and food, but life in the Children of God compound was far from idyllic. River would later speak of the disturbing experiences he endured during this time, including the cult's manipulation of its members and the forced participation in unspeakable acts. It was a period of deep trauma for River, one that would shadow his later life. His experiences with the Children of God are often cited as a key reason for his complex and troubled inner world. He had his innocence stolen. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of River Phoenix's early life was the abuse he suffered at the hands of the Children of God cult. River would later reveal that his innocence was stolen at an unbelievably young age, with him being coerced into activities at the age of just 4. The trauma of these experiences haunted him throughout his life, and he would often struggle with intimacy, claiming he remained celibate for several years during his preteens as a result. This abuse profoundly impacted his mental and emotional state, and while he would go on to achieve incredible success, the scars from these early experiences never fully healed. He got spotted. In 1977, after the Phoenix family left the Children of God cult, they returned to the United States. It was here that River's career would truly begin to take off. Phoenix's mother, Arlene, took a job as a secretary at NBC, and the Phoenix siblings would often perform on the streets near her workplace. It was during one of these performances that a talent agent discovered them. Impressed by the family's energy and charm, the agent signed them all on the spot. However, River was clearly the standout, and his talent was immediately recognized. This marked the beginning of what would become a meteoric rise to fame. He got a lot of work. By the time River Phoenix was 10 years old, his career in the entertainment industry had already begun to take off. His early work in commercials for brands like Mitsubishi, Ocean Spray, and Saks Fifth Avenue showcased his natural ability to captivate an audience. These commercials helped River gain exposure, but it was clear that he wasn't destined to remain in the world of advertising for long. His talent was undeniable, and Hollywood soon took notice. His transition from commercials to film was rapid, with River's charm and acting ability becoming more evident with each project he took on. His work in commercials had provided him with the foundation needed for bigger opportunities, and soon casting directors were actively seeking him for more significant roles. River had a way of making any character feel authentic and relatable, a quality that endeared him to audiences. His career trajectory was becoming a testament to his remarkable potential as a young actor. At the same time, River was gaining public recognition, not just as an actor but also for his ability to engage with audiences. His family's talent also played a role in this exposure. River and his sister Rain were recruited by casting director Penny Marshall, who signed them both to Paramount Pictures. They were given the chance to perform as audience warm-up acts for the children's show Real Kids, a role that allowed River to connect directly with crowds. His performances as an audience warm-up not only helped him develop a deeper understanding of audience dynamics, but also provided him with a platform to further build his star power. This early experience of engaging with live audiences likely honed River's ability to draw people in, a skill that would become a significant part of his acting repertoire. Even as a child, he had a unique charisma that made him stand out in any setting. It was clear that River had a natural gift for performing, whether it was in front of a camera or a live audience, and this gift would only become more refined as he matured. In 1980, River took another significant step in his career when he auditioned for the television series 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. What made this audition stand out wasn't just River's acting, it was his unconventional approach to the process. Rather than taking the traditional route of reading a script, River showed up with his guitar in hand and performed an Elvis Presley impression. This bold, confident move set him apart from other aspiring actors, and it was clear that River wasn't just another face trying to break into the industry. He was an artist with a unique sense of self and an unshakable confidence in his abilities. This audition marked the beginning of River's rise to stardom, as it showcased his versatility and willingness to take risks. It wasn't just his acting skills that made him a sought-after talent. It was his ability to blend different forms of expression, including music, into his performances. This combination of musical talent and acting ability made him stand out in Hollywood, where many actors struggle to find their niche. River Phoenix had a rare ability to transcend the traditional boundaries of acting, establishing himself as one of the most promising young actors of his generation. He was a showbiz polymath. River Phoenix was not just an actor, he was a polymath in the truest sense of the word. Alongside his acting skills, he was a talented musician and an accomplished tap dancer. Corey Feldman, who often ran into Phoenix at auditions, recalled their friendly rivalry. Phoenix's diverse talents made him a standout in the entertainment world, and his ability to adapt to different artistic mediums made him an exciting prospect for future roles. It wasn't just his talents that made him special. It was the way he channeled his emotions and experiences into every role he played. He starred in infotainment. In 1984, River Phoenix starred in an after-school special titled The Riddle of Dyslexia. His portrayal of a young boy grappling with dyslexia was both poignant and powerful. What made this role significant was Phoenix's personal connection to the subject. Having suffered from dyslexia himself, River brought an authenticity and depth to the role that garnered widespread attention and critical acclaim. This marked a turning point in Phoenix's career, signaling that he was ready for bigger roles and would become a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood. he received acclaim. River Phoenix's performance in The Riddle of Dyslexia didn't just open doors, it cemented his status as a rising star. Critics were quick to recognize his immense talent, and his career trajectory soared. As his star power increased, he began receiving offers for larger roles in feature films and television projects, each one showcasing his versatility and emotional depth. But behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, River was still grappling with his personal demons that would eventually lead to his untimely death. River Phoenix's story is one of extraordinary talent and heartbreaking tragedy. His legacy lives on through his work, but the pain he endured is something we can never forget. If you found his journey compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more insightful stories like this.